Hey guys, it's Realtor Randy with Mendez and Associates at Real EXP. Well, boy, I messed that up. Mendez and Associates at EXP with Sharon, and Sharon, you're at Alameda Mortgage, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm excited. So I'm obviously in a. You're still in your office, but it looks like you moved your exercise bike, Sharon. So
I
did
did. We
you?
moved the Peloton out.
Well, it looks nice. I'm actually to share a little bit. Sharon was my family's personal lender on a home at Lake Almanor. And so she did a fantastic job on that. And I'm actually here. But Sharon, you know the story of my life. Everybody says that I should have a sitcom. So we got here yesterday, and it was I checked the weather, and it was 100% chance of snow, right? And so it was like, oh, perfect. It's going to be amazing. We're going to go out and just enjoy the snow. We walked into the house, and it was like 32 degrees. We were out of propane. And do you remember our transaction, Sharon, at like how we learned small? Well, we kind of knew this, but we got reminded that small towns do everything different.
Slow, yes.
Right. Small would be the key word. So I had Stephanie pay for expedited same day delivery service. And so I'm like, all right, we can tough it out with no propane. We're like building a fire, which of course I haven't had a chance to get wood. So we're like scouting wood in the forest. And so we're toughing it. And I was like, but it's okay. The propane's going to be here. And then they called and they're like, nope, we're refunding your fee that you paid to expedite it because we can't guarantee same day delivery because we're short staffed. And so at that point, we still have no propane. And Stephanie laughed. She's like, remember this summer when you wanted to go camping all year? Well, now you are. So okay, so today talking about, I mean, I have the fire going and all that good stuff. So what we're talking about today is selling your home during the holidays, right? So is selling your home during the holidays a good idea? And so we're going to jump into that a little bit. That's our topic today, right, Sharon?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just have to say, like right off the bat, even before Cody, buddy, sorry, Mike, I have a whole party happening over here behind me. So even before COVID, my answer was yes. But I was thinking about this last night because I was just kind of writing down. I wrote down a couple of them, and first and foremost, let's just start with the fact that you're going to have less competition during the holidays, right? Now, of course, this particular market has low inventory, so you're seeing a little bit less competition across the board, but you can even further capitalize on the less competition during the holidays. And so it's that kind of been your experience as well, Sharon?
Yes, absolutely. I think that we usually see a quieting of the market. We see houses sit a little bit longer. This year is different, but we do see a quieting of the market, period. And this year in particular, I think we're going to have a lot of buyers that are frustrated. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to wait till after the new year, which the buyers that are serious gives them that more opportunity.
Well, and that was my second point was more serious buyers. And that is kind of why I started talking about COVID because I've really been thinking about things and, why is there less inventory? Because ironically, it's kind of ironic to me that there's so much less inventory when I feel like everybody has discovered during quarantine that they want to sell. They don't love their house or they don't love their location. And so it's just ironic to me that so many people want to move and there's so little inventory. And I think, one of those factors has got to be just the comfort level of actually having your home on the market and having people come in your home during this time. And so that's another thing that I think is a byproduct beneficial of the holiday sale is that you're going to have even further serious buyers, right? So the buyers are going to be that much more serious. So if they're out during a pandemic in the holiday season hunting, these are serious buyers. And then let me tell you something else as a seller that you can really take a little bit of peace of mind. Buyers are eliminating 90% of the home searches online, right? So I have buyers say to me all the time, you know what? I actually have only seen 5 homes. Should I be making an offer? And I say, no. You've seen 5 homes in person. How many did you rule out online? And they're like, oh, hundreds. Like I decided, right? And so think about that as a seller. Now you have an increased motivation, obviously. And so now you've probably made the cut of only 5% of homes. So when they're actually coming into your home at this time during the holiday season, there's a good chance that that person walking through the door is going to be the person making an offer as well. Would you agree with that?
100%. Like you said, people are looking online. I remember when I was looking online, I looked at 30 homes before I'd actually go see one. And I would say 9 times out of 10, if there was something in the home that I was like, let's check it out anyway. When I got there, I was usually like, eh. And then the ones that I loved, when I got there, I was, oh my God, I love it. Let's put an offer in. So I think that the amount of photography, videography, video tours that we're doing now, people have such a good idea of what they want even before they go into the house. And we've seen so many offers where they can't even get into the house till they put in an offer and they still absolutely love the house just because, like I said, I think our video, our presentations have had to get so much better during quarantine.
Yeah, I agree. I agree so much. We have always done a couple different variations, but something that's really helped us during quarantine and during COVID is our raw walkthroughs. So as a seller, just keep that in mind. What we're doing is we're doing the nice video that's professionally done, but we're also doing a raw walkthrough because something I hear from buyers is, I loved it and I thought I was going to love this kitchen, but it just, my gosh, it felt so much bigger in the pictures. And it's 9 times out of 10 because the agent chose to have a photographer that did a wide angle lens or whatnot. And so I always tell my sellers, listen, I want to put your best foot forward, but at the same token, I don't want to catfish anybody because I'm not doing you or myself any justice to make your home look 3 times bigger than it is online, only to get people through the door for them to be disappointed. So we also do a actual completely unedited, walkthrough version so that they can really see the house and get a good feel for it. So that helps as well. One other thing I want to talk about is, here's the thing, guys. What is a house, right? What is a house? At the end of the day, it's a home. And right now, Sharon said to me literally before we went live, she said, I love the fire in the background, right? That's one of the things that we loved about the house that we bought, is that it had a wood burning fireplace. Because what did we visualize? We visualized the holidays. We visualized when it snowed, right? We visualized all those magical experiences that we wanted to create and take a house to a home. So I want you to really think about this as a seller. When is your home more a home than the holidays, right? Everybody wants to come home for the holidays. So think about just the decorations and the warmth and how so many people's homes the houses just feel so much more like homes during the holidays. And think about that as kind of an advantage also, because now you're getting to show your home to those potential buyers at its peak time, in my opinion, right? I feel like the holidays are a I don't know, for lack of better words, the bikini season for homes. I mean, my bikini season may look a little different than your bikini season, Sharon, but just saying.
I would agree. I read that online too. You have such an opportunity when you list your home this time of year to have that warm holiday feeling. When people walk in, you have all those extra scents with your Christmas candles and the beautiful twinkling lights. And it does offer that different look of your home. And like you said, that warmth and family feeling when you walk in.
Yeah. So I have to tell you, I'm not going to announce fully. I'm going to wait till our show next week to make the announcement. But I'm really excited because we've also really just kind of been sitting together as a team, Sharon, and trying to figure out, what does have sellers on the fence? Really, what is it? And I think it's like I said, I think it is the uncomfortableness. And so we have something we're going to announce next week that's pretty exciting on how we are going to be coming alongside you, should you allow us the opportunity to be your real estate team, how we're going to come alongside you and bring you a complete peace guarantee in the safety of selling your home during the corona and during the virus. So I'm really excited. So stay tuned next week for that announcement. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. But another thing I just want to talk about is I think that it's really important. I think what sellers are worried about is, okay, if I sell my house, where do I go, right? There's no inventory. And so I think that, I was just talking to somebody yesterday in Florida. And this is really interesting because they are a top producing agent. So they're a partner of mine in the company. And she's a mega agent. And guess what she got? She got the door knock, Sharon. The door knock on the house of, will you sell your house to me? And as an agent, you know what she said? She said yes. And it was a cash 2-week close in a market where there's no inventory. So she's going to an Airbnb. She's going to an Airbnb for a couple of weeks until she figures out, exactly what she's doing. And so I think that, something else that is probably holding you back during this time is, where would you go? And I think that really ties back to how important and I talked about this recently. Forgive me, Sharon. I don't know that, I think it was on one of my other podcasts that I talked about. Yeah, it was on one of those, about how important it is to have a buyer's agent. And so kind of twofolds here. If you're thinking about selling your home, just know that you actually have, we just talked about several different advantages you have to sell during the holidays. If your hesitation is where am I going, you just really need to reflect and make sure that you have an agent that you're in relationship with, because this is kind of what I hear people say, well, I have 5 agents working for me. Not a good idea. Not a good idea, because here's the point. We need to be looking deep right now. We need to be looking on and off market. We need to be hunting high and low. And we need to also, I mean, I say this all the time, but buying a home is not a process of selection. It's a process of elimination. And so we need to know what you will cut, what you won't cut. And so don't let that discourage you if that's why you're not selling. Just know that you need an agent that's willing to just army crawl through this market with you to find the right property.
I just had a conversation with a client last week about selling. And here's kind of my also, when you talk about where will I go, what will I do? We've done this with other clients right now, which is we can do a 45-day escrow and we can do a 60-day rent back. So now we're talking about 3.5 months to find that other house. Okay, what's our worst case scenario? If in 3.5 months we can't find a house, well, then yeah, maybe we go rent. And this particular client, I said, let's take a book from the housing market crash in 2008, which is, if I would tell you these $300,000 to $400,000 homes are going to be fine. They're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to see equity. So, in my opinion, from a mortgage lender and from doing this for 20 years, if you're also in that higher echelon of 570, 650, 700,000, I think it's a great time to sell, because I think you're actually selling probably maybe at the height of the market. And then who cares if you kind of simmer for 6 months in a rental property and see how things go? Because if you're selling in that 550, 600,000, 700,000 mark, you're obviously looking for that last resting place, the retirement home, the long-term home. Getting out of a cookie cutter neighborhood like Damani or, Spanish Spring, something like that. You want something with more land. So I was talking to those clients about, do a 45-day escrow, do a 60-day rent back. Worst case scenario, you simmer on your money till you find what you want. But it is such a great time to sell. If this is not the house that you want, such a great time to sell and kind of take your money and run almost. It's in some aspects in those higher levels. I don't want to scare people from also buying in those higher levels, because it's also still a great time to buy. Same thing we mentioned last week, which is even if your property did take a small dip, the interest rate outweighs that small dip that you would receive with the low payment you would have.
Well, and we also, last week we talked about, there is really never a bad time to buy, but there is a bad time to sell. So again, don't be scared away from those higher price points or those areas that you might think it's a peak. Just be strategic. If you're going to be gridlocked and have to sell in 6 months, don't do it. It doesn't make sense. You never want to have to, I think the key factor is you don't want to buy when there is an absolute adamant sell that has to happen in the next, I would say in the next 3 years. If you have at least 3 years to write it out, I think that's a different conversation. But what were you going to say, Sharon? Were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, for sure. Agreed.
Well, and you said something, and I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm working on that, but I have no memory retention. So when something pops up, if I don't blurt it out, it goes away. But I'm just recapping here. You said you were talking about the rent back. Okay, so the rent back. I mean, and think about that. So now we're really compiling it. So think of being a seller, and we already have limited inventory. Now we have the holidays, so we're further limiting that inventory. So now you have that additional upper hand to where, you're going to have 9 times out of 10, you're going to have multiple buyers, basically, willing to go into a multiple offer situation for your home. So again, as to Sharon's point, if where you're going next is a concern for you, we have that upper advantage right now to capitalize on that rent back, unlike before, right? And also there's a lot of buyers that, they're happy to find their home in the holidays, but they don't necessarily want to sell in the holidays either, or move in the holidays either. And so again, we can definitely get those rent backs happening. And by spring, see what's happened, what's happened. I guess it's not spring yet. When is spring? April. So March is not quite spring. I think I need a seasons 101, because I was recently referencing it winter and somebody was like, no, it's still fall. And I was like, well, I just go by what's happening outside, and I definitely am looking at snow. So, but any other thoughts that you have, Sharon, around? I mean, today again, we just want to encourage you that I think now is the time. I think now is the time to get into the house that you're happy in. We have these little story engagement things that we actually put out for my coaching company. And I watched agents across the country use it and ask, like you rated if you were happy, if, one, if you were happy, and two, if you were happy or not happy with location. Like, it had different choices. And we had overwhelming responses. So even the people that love their home didn't love their location, right? And so I think now is the time. It's the holidays. It's the holidays. It's the perfect time to buy yourself a new home, right? It's the perfect time to take that leap of faith. Maybe even looking at, a second home, right? Maybe now is the time to make that happen as well. And here's what we want you to know. The reason we started this show isn't to pretend that this is going to be an easy process. It's not to pretend that, there's not going to be challenges, even getting you ready to make some of these moves. And definitely once you're ready to make the moves, we can't promise you a turbulence-free transaction. But the bottom line is, what we want to do, and our goal and our heart and our reason behind this is because we have the heart of teachers. We want to come to you. We want to empower you with education and information and help you to know it is possible. It is possible. And so when we're coming on here, we're talking about possible hurdles. Again, last week, thank you all so much. We had an overwhelming response of past clients and friends and family who all said how valuable it was. And just keep those questions coming and those concerns coming, because again, what we want to do is help you to really navigate through this so that you can make your real estate dreams reality, right, Sharon?
Absolutely. Just on that point of buying during the holidays, sorry, I just wanted to look at my note real quick. The one thing that we look at is I have a couple clients that are closing right at Thanksgiving and right at Christmas, and all of them are excited, for those extra days off to move. And so it's like some people are, oh, I don't want to move during the holidays, and other things, it's a great time to move. There's time off from work. You don't have to worry about, families got nothing to do except help you move. When we talk about the market in general, once again, when we talk about what are rates going to do, on Monday and Tuesday, we got this huge scare with a vaccine, not scare. It was great that we got a vaccine announcement. However, with rates, the rates popped up big time Monday, Tuesday. The Biden win gave everybody a lot of excitement about a possible future. So, but then the rates went up, and then the last 2 days they came back down. So a lot of what ifs, who knows? And so the one thing that we've talked about over and over again is we don't know what's going to happen to the market. All we know is that rate hikes are coming at some point. So why wait till the new year when the rates have come all the way back up or are in the threes, when we're still seeing sub 3% across the board, conventional and FHA. So I do still think it's a great time to buy, just simply because take advantage of these rates. Like I said, I've done the examples every way to Sunday, and we're talking about a difference of $100, which could mean a $30,000 to $40,000 swing in your purchase power if you're, depending on your income, assets, and all that other good stuff. So I think the holidays is a great time to buy. I think it's one of the best times to buy. Real quick, and we'll talk about this more with the Reno market. One thing that is kind of unique to the Reno market and other markets similar to ours, when we talk about price point, when we talk about that we're probably 300 to 450 price point. The one thing that happens too, if we think, oh, the market's going to settle down, things are going to shift. The one thing that happens is we see a small slowdown in January, kind of that holiday hangover. But then people start to get their IRS refunds back. And in a market like ours, being from California, those IRS tax refunds did nothing for us in California, in Southern California at least. But in Reno and other markets with similar price points as ours, that's a down payment on a house. And you put that with a possible another stimulus check, and now you've got all these buyers back out, like now they have the down payment again. So we may see some slowdown in January, but the minute those IRS checks refunds come back, we will see that pick up again. So once again, it's like, what are you waiting for? I do think it's still a great time.
No, I think that's a fantastic point. And, in fact, one of the people that reached out to us one of the people that reached out to me afterwards and just said, wow, I loved watching you and Sharon go live, and it was very informational, actually said the exact same thing, was, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I took the plunge when I did. And it's like they caught that window. They caught a window and we got them in their house. And he said to me, I have friends who are offering, $10,000 and $15,000 above asking, and they're getting beat out. And so I think that, again, right now, this is an unprecedented market across the country. Reno's is unprecedented, but I speak daily to agents in every single market. And I mean, there's the top producer I was speaking to in Texas, and she just said, I'm done. I'm tapped out. I don't know what to tell you the market's doing, because it's doing something different every single day. And so I think that's really powerful to know as well, is just that's kind of what Sharon and I pride ourselves on. One of our value adds as our client that we're doing is forethought. So forethought is, again, we don't have crystal balls. We can never say to you unequivocally, without a doubt, this is what's going to happen in 60 days and this is why you should do that. And that's not how we would ever even approach a client anyways. Our heart is to empower you to make the most informed decision that is best for you and your family, that's going to set you up in the best financial position for the future, okay? But what we do spend a lot of time doing is processing data, looking at statistics, looking at market trends, hearing what the experts are saying, and we're in the mud. So that's another thing. I joked about this the other day in my coaching company, because we were talking about coaches. And don't get me wrong, people have different value, but sometimes I laugh because some of the best coaches in the country have never actually been in the mud. And so I think that that's something else to know, is that we are both in this market, actively working with clients, actively on a roller coaster with clients. We are at this amusement park every day, every single day. And so we're using all of those experiences and all of that knowledge and other people's experiences and other people's roller coaster rides to really do our best to forecast what we think is best for you. And so I love that Sharon just said was an exact point of that. I personally had not even thought about. And I do see an uptick when those refund checks come in. I see an uptick of my first time home buyers. They're like, okay, I got it. And it's not necessarily even all of it, but maybe that was just the final piece that they needed. And then right. The fact of a possible second stimulus, that also could be that final piece that they need. And again, that'll increase the buyer interest. And really, I just, that's not, you don't want any more increased interest. If you're thinking about buying right now, you want to capitalize on the slow season. And I kind of think it's the same way for the selling season. I just had a listing appointment yesterday with a longtime client, and I love that she's so diligent. She's very diligent. Every time we sell one of her family homes, I spend quite a bit of time, because she has a list, and she's like, all right, Randy, let's go over the list. And 9 times out of 10, for any market, I've been telling her we don't need to do everything, but she's very detailed. So she's like, no, we'll do this and we'll do this. So yesterday I was like, no, we're not doing any of those things. And she's like, yeah, but it's going to look ugly. And I'm like, you know what? I've never in a market been able to say it's okay if it looks ugly. Like, let's not, that's another thing. If let's just kind of speak to this. If you have a list of projects and the holidays are not the time that you probably have the extra time to get your list of projects done, let's pick up the phone and talk. Because here's the thing. How do you as a seller capitalize on this limited inventory that's even further limited during the holidays? Well, there's another byproduct of how you capitalize on it. You get to say, okay, come in, and if you don't like stuff, then we can address that in the transaction or even in the negotiations, but not necessarily me spending 3 weeks prepping my house for it to be in the most pristine condition. And of course, you want to pass the house off in good condition to the next buyer. I'm not by any means saying you don't, but I'm saying you as a seller right now get the advantage. In this case, she had a broken microwave handle. She had some dog scratches on the door. She had some weather stripping. There's no reason in this market you as a seller have to spend 3 weekends getting your house completely ready, because there's more grace from the buyers, because you get to capitalize on the fact that there's no inventory. So the buyers are going to say, oh, I guess I can deal with that a lot better than they are in another market, which is going to do 2 things for you as a seller. It's going to preserve your time and your bottom line, right? Because all that time that you would have spent to doing those little tiny things, and then the cost that would have, you don't see those back. You don't see those back in the sale, right? Because honestly, I'll tell you, in another market as a seller, congratulations on maintaining your home. I always laugh when a seller tells me everything that they did, and they're like, do you think I can get more? And I'm like, no, that's called maintenance, not improvement. So in this market, I get to say to you, for lack of better words, we get to defer maintenance a little bit because it's visual, and a buyer's going to say, you know what, I look, guys, this house right here that I'm sitting in, I love this color combination, this wood here and this blue. We all know blue is my color right now. And this white, this is right, guys, this house was not like this. And
No.
I jumped at the bit. This paneling here was horrific. And the entire house was this paneling. You walked up the stairs and it was like a dungeon. And guess what? Do you think there's any inventory in this market? Nope.
No.
So do you think I even said, like, I don't know if nope, I'll deal with the paneling. I wrote an offer to speak to this. Sharon, you might remember this. We as a family wrote an offer on a house. And this is how I love that I remembered this point, because this speaks to your advantage during the holidays and combined with limited inventory. We wrote an offer, and I called Sharon and I was like, okay, what can we go to max? And Sharon tells me, and I'm like, no, we need higher. So we, not only did Sharon and I strategize as to where we can get the price, but then we as agents, because we're a family of agents, we strategize. Guys, we wrote an offer and this is what it looked like. We offered, I think it was, what was it, Jordy, 10,000 above asking? 10,000 above asking. And then the term said, we accept and acknowledge that the roof needs to be replaced. We accept and acknowledge that the stair rails need replacing. We accept and acknowledge, the list went on. We wrote an offer that acknowledged like 9 things that we were willing to do. And a roof is a big deal, guys. So think about that. They got an over ask offer from us, which I just want you to know that we were beat out. But we actually were willing to accept those things. So if you're, and again, we want to have a mindset of abundance. So if you're not one of our clients and you're having a hard time getting an offer accepted, or you're an agent that's watching and you're having a hard time, think about that. Think about all of the things that you can remove up front. So if you come through the house and there's 5 things, the more peace of mind that you can give that seller to know that you're actually going to get to the finish line, the better. And as a seller, just think about that. Now think about sitting back and going, you know what, I don't have to do 100 projects, and I can totally sell my house during the holidays, and I'm going to have less people in my house, and I'm going to have more serious buyers, and I'm going to probably be able to get an offer that accepts the 7 honeydew projects that haven't been done for the last 7 months. So why wouldn't you sell right now, right? So yeah. So anyways, we're right at our time, which I always laugh at as well, because sometimes Sharon and I are like, well, what are we going to talk about? And I feel like we get to the end of the time and we're like, well, we can keep going. So thank you for bearing with me today, Sharon. I know that normally I'm our host here, and so we might have had some great comments. Unfortunately, I had to come in as a guest. So Sharon and I are both guests on our own show today, because I'm not fully set up here yet, but I will. Jordy did ask at one point. She was like, hey, Mom, can we have like an office at the house? And so that would probably be a good idea. So anyways, Sharon, thank you so much for taking time to join me on this. And if you're out there and you have any questions, on whatever it is, and we want you to, again, know wherever you are, if you're looking to move up, if you're looking to make that first purchase, maybe you're looking to purchase an investment property, maybe you're looking at a second home market, please give us a call. We would love the opportunity to answer your questions, to be a resource. We really just want to empower you to make informed decisions and honestly to take action. We shared it a little bit last week, but we all have that one client that just never, ever put their foot in the water. They just always tested the water. And guys, that one client, I know exactly who it is. I know their story to this day. And it's been 8 years and nothing has changed for them. Nothing has changed for them. So I highly encourage you to not try to be strategic to the perfect time. It's kind of like having a kid. I don't know that it's ever the perfect time. At some point, you just go for it, right? So we would love to be considered when that happens. And Sharon, anything else you want to say?
Nope, that's it for today.
Yay! Well, thank you so much. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Money Matters. Remember, we will be back here again next Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to jump on our Facebook, our YouTube, or our Instagram. Leave those questions and we will make sure we answer those in our next episode. So thank you guys so much and have a blessed day. And we'll have to wait for Stephanie to cut us because we have a moderator. So we will just look pretty. That's how we're going to end. So no perfection here. Steph, let me just text her. Get us off live. If we have a blooper reel, this should probably be on it. Okay, hold on one sec, Steph. We're done. She's also trying to get my emails fixed. If you've emailed me, bear with me. My emails are down. We will have them up shortly. So just there let's see. I don't know if we can always just leave the studio too, Sharon. Can
Okay.
you see the button that says leave
Yeah,
the
I'll leave the studio. Goodbye. Happy Friday.
Bye. And now it's just me. Yay. Okay. I just want to make sure we don't leave you guys just watching a blank screen. Although you probably would just not watch the blank screen. Okay, Stephanie to the rescue. Here she comes. All right, guys, have a wonderful week. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy your family and friends.